Good Thursday evening. Thank you for joining us. This is coming to you from our studio, and I want you to get prepared because in 2015 we want to do more of this. We want to talk one-on-one. The producers, Scott, John, and I realized when we hit about 30,000 inquiries, we couldn't get them all done. We had that Know the Cause on our Know the Cause website that you're on right now. We had that eye-to-eye link. Do you want to ask a question or make a statement? And you hit a point at which it no longer works, where you can't answer all these questions. So let's do more of these live segments, and in the future, we'll be able to have you join us and ask your own questions. John handed me a list of many of your questions. Your exact regimen if I had cancer. Apricot seeds were asked 3 times. Apricot seeds, of course, contain what they call Laetrile or vitamin B17. And here's the take-home message that I want to drive home to all of you. If I'm right, if the publication, as you know, we just published this in Oncology News, very important paper. This was a huge breakthrough in my career, but a couple of doctors and I published an article that was called Fungi and Their Mycotoxins, an unappreciated role in the disease called cancer. And doctors read this. I mean, this is important. For the doctors and nurses and technical medical people joining us right now, this isn't as important for you because you can get the link right there and read the article and it'll make more sense to you. But for the 99% of us who are really lay people, what I want to do is give you a highlight of what this article said because it's really relevant and it's really huge because cancer impacts every one of us. Look, my sister had breast cancer, my brother had cancer, mom died of cancer. It's all over my family. And so that sperm and egg became Doug Kaufmann, and half of it anyway may have passed on a genetic component, meaning that I too one day may have cancer. So one of the most important things we talk about in this article is that word mycotoxin. Big word, but myco means fungus and poison is a toxin. So fungi make, as they degrade, something called a mycotoxin. There are about 33 of these mycotoxins that are currently known as causing genetic mutations. Okay, that's huge, folks, and here's why it's huge. As this article points out, it's underappreciated. Cancer doctors don't know that. They don't know there's one mycotoxin that can cause genetic mutation. Now, according to cancer.com, I believe, or cancer.gov, cancer is due to a genetic mutation. And I've always asked this question, and I did it again in this article. What causes the genetic mutation? Your doctor will say, well, we don't know. X-ray does. There are several category 1 carcinogens. And these mycotoxins fall right in. We know radiation is one. We know other poisons, excuse me, fit the bill. But mycotoxins, that made by fungus, are definitely involved in the disease we call cancer. Not maybe involved. They are definitely involved. So your typical cancer patient must think back. This is what I used to do when I worked at the hospital. What did I get into? You can't know, folks, how many people said to me, well, we're from Georgia. We grow our own peanuts. Yeah, during the drought, we had some old peanuts, but we went ahead and made peanut butter and ate them. If you just follow the trail, the fungus trail, you can generally find, that's right, Doug, my lung cancer started when I moved into a home with a basement and I put my office down there. I was breathing mold for 2 years before they said it was cancer. And then one of the most important studies that the good doctors and I put in this report was one in 2013. 2 journals kind of converged on this. One journal, Mycoses, said that 27 patients who had been diagnosed with lung cancer, right? They do the x-rays and so forth, scans, and they said, you have lung cancer. And then the journal Lung followed up with this, and they discovered that all 27 had lung fungus. And they gave them antifungal drugs, all 27 of them, and all 27 are alive today. I dare say, if they wouldn't have done the biopsies and didn't know it was fungus, probably more than half of those people would be dead today. This is not a good disease to have because our doctors don't know what I'm talking about right now. But with the advent of this being published, I think many of them will. I've spoken to a couple recently. I've spoken to a couple of oncologists. These mycotoxins, this is important. These are mutagenic. right? Changes in the human genetic material. They're tremorogenic, capable of causing tremors. What is Parkinson's disease? They are carcinogenic. They cause cancer in humans. They're teratogenic. They cause birth defects in a developing embryo. They're genotoxic. They're poisonous to our DNA. They're neurotoxic, our nerves, nephrotoxic, our kidneys, hepatotoxic, our liver, hemotoxic, our bloodstream, cardiotoxic, lymphotoxic, dermatotoxic, but most importantly, they suppress our immune system. Everyone with cancer has asked their doctor, how did my immune system get so low that this thing grew in my body? Where was I the most vulnerable? And folks, what our article points to is you are your most vulnerable when you're eating corn, when you're eating peanuts, when you're breathing mold, and when you're on antibiotics. Antibiotics are mold. There are several cancers, we point out here 6, that are intimately linked to antibiotics. So we don't doubt that mold causes cancer. Just which mold? Because we're exposed every day to a lot of environmental molds. I'm sure there's molds in the studio here in the library. You know, I'm sure there are a lot of them. Old books yield a lot of mold on them. We're all exposed to mold. Why don't all of us get sick? I think the reason we are seeing cancer rates skyrocket in we older Americans is because we become more vulnerable as we're aging. The aging process itself is part of becoming more vulnerable to diseases, heart disease, hypertension, hypercholesteremia, high cholesterol, and a host of other diseases, one of which is cancer. And so I think here's what happens. We were exposed to antibiotics when we were younger. For some of us, antibiotics weren't even on the market in the 40s when I was born, but soon they became available, and then they were the miracles. Mom once told me to have my thyroid checked, and I asked Mom, why? Why should I have my thyroid checked? Because I used to take you to a clinic in California, and they would irradiate your thyroid. And I said, why? She said, I asked the doctor that, and he said, because we have this new magic radium that we can radionize thyroids with. Every time we come up with a new medicine, let's give it to the people. Radiation, they really shot my thyroid with radiation. And I'd like to say that 65 years later, things are different. But here comes a host of new drugs. Now, the question here was asked several times about Laetrile. You know where I'm going with this. This article is the first one in a medical journal that I know of, a cancer journal, that really says, Doc, think fungus. Here's what we know about Laetrile and a host of other nutrients that people take when they have cancer. And their dear friends call them, if you have cancer, you've been here. Everybody calls you, everybody loves you, everybody says, drink this juice, take this supplement, take this pill, because it's going to help you. And remarkable things happen when we take remarkable supplements. One of them is Laetrile. I'm not an advocate for taking Laetrile. I'm an advocate for teaching your doctor that, you know what, doc, apricot pit, apple seeds, etc., Laetrile is a potent antifungal, one of the most. And if this is lung fungus, or if this is thyroid fungus, or bone fungus, could I try it? Some people have had amazing results doing that. I think where we need to go from here is this. We need to understand that viri, they say, cleave into human cells and pass the virus into the cell. So there's a cleaving. You know, things like hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and other viri, human papilloma virus. So why couldn't fungus pass along part of its DNA into our cells also, and then you have a merge, a hybrid DNA? This I have hypothesized for many, many years. It's going on all of the time. I think one of the most important things as I let you go this evening and then open for your comments early next year, one of the most important things I want you to know is science has finally caught up with probiotics. Probiotics are both anti-cancer as well as antifungal. I think probiotics might be the saving grace in nutritional medicine because doctors are beginning to use them, gastroenterologists, more and more and more. What we need to begin understanding, effective tonight and forward, is we are doing things. If you're eating grains, and especially corn, and especially peanut, you need to know you're getting a little bit of these fungal metabolites in your body. A little bit can be offset with broccoli or chlorophyll or green foods. It's the cumulative effect of these. I'm on antibiotics, I'm drinking beer, I'm in a moldy environment that I believe finally catches up with you, and the fungus takes hold and begins growing in a sac. We call that sac an ascomycete, a sac fungus. It cannot be differentiated, I don't believe, without biopsy from a cancer tumor. They're too much alike. I think cancer is being overdiagnosed in America today, and the system isn't going to change. Your oncologists aren't going to change. We must instigate the change. That's what this article was all about. You can read it after we're done here. And you can help your loved ones and friends by knowing this. Yes, diet does play a role in this disease called cancer. They don't know that yet, but I'm hoping to open those doors as we continue into the next few years. Yes, your environment does play a role. Yes, if you take lots of antibiotics, there is little doubt they contribute to very serious diseases. So that's the way I want to get started as we end the year 2014, and we enter a year where you're going to see Doug Kaufmann become more personally involved with you. You hit a point when we can't answer all of the emails and we can't answer all of the questions, but we can merge all of these questions together. For example, here's 15 of them, several of them on vitamin B17, Laetrile. You deserve answers. I'm only one guy. I'm pedaling as fast as I can. But we're going to open up avenues right here on the website. If you'll do me a favor, check back on knowthecause.com right after the first of the year, and you'll be able to see events that we're going to be hosting right here, more live events where you'll be able to tune in and interact with us on a more permanent basis. Thank you for the 15 years many of you have watched Know the Cause. I was a young guy back then. I'm aging, and I do feel better at retirement age than I've felt in a long, long time. I'm going to be with you here for a while. Thank you for joining us. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy holidays to each and every one of you. Until next year, goodbye.